Hi, Kathryn here with Circle Art Designs. Today we will be working on Project 1 from the February Bargain Bead Box. This will be a multi-strand Tree of Life bracelet. I love these multi-strand bracelets, but I've never made one to go up in the shop, and I've never made one to share with you. So I thought we would do this together. So let's turn our eyes to the mat. And the first thing we see is the beautiful piece of glass that says, "Give thanks to the Lord." So let me tell you about my morning. First off, I overslept. And when I walked into my kitchen, there were ants all over my kitchen cabinet. And as I was wiping off the kitchen cabinet, I realized the dog was still in his crate and he had not been pottied. So I put the leash on the dog quickly and run outside, only to have a baby squirrel right on the step down from the porch. The dog grabbed the squirrel. I screamed. I thought it was a rat. I said, drop it, Charlie." And he did. And the baby squirrel laid there in shock. I took the dog out to potty. I came back and realized I had not put the trash cans out. So I was running to put the trash cans out, stuffed the dog back into the crate, and then I realized I needed something to be done with this baby squirrel. I was petrified of this baby squirrel. So I went and got my daughter, to which she says, "Oh, Mom, we'll put it in the grass." She very carefully picked it up because it was now too afraid to move, and stuck it in the tall grass in our flower bed. All that to say, today I am thankful that the Lord woke me in time to get my trash out, that the ants were just a piece of food that had dropped. We have ants every spring. And I got those cleaned up before anybody got there for breakfast, and the dog did not eat the squirrel. What a blessing. It has been a busy morning. And to top that all off, I got my blog out called Good Journeying. So I am praising God for a good start to this day. All right, let's get started. So this will be a 4-strand bracelet. I am using 0.5 millimeter stretch cord. It's a thin stretch cord, and I have to tell you, if you pull it really hard, you can break it. And I did break this a couple of times because I'm used to using a much thicker cord. But we're going to use some little 4 millimeter beads, those garnet beads from the Bargain Bead Box on one of the strands. So you really need to go with at least a 0.5. You might be able to go with a 0.7 stretch cord, but I know that with a gentle tug, you can get those garnets over a 0.5 millimeter. All right, so let's look at our bracelet and see what we need for the first bracelet. We're going to start up at the top left with a 8/0 black silver lined seed bead, and this will be the wild bead, and they're from my stash. Now, as I'm telling you what I'm using for this bracelet, you can use any combination of seed beads you want. This is the colors that I like together. When you're picking it out, because the other thing down at the bottom we're using will be that beautiful turquoise green faceted bead from the Bargain Bead Box, you want to make sure that you have colors in the same color palette, but you also want to have colors that you would consider accent colors. And so when you're planning this, put your main bead out, the one that is a showpiece of that particular bracelet, and then build your seed beads around it. So for this one, I went ahead and used the black beads, the silver lined black beads, seed beads. And when I put wild beads, that's a small store that I get my beads from sometimes in our area. And they must buy in bulk because they put everything in a tube and there's no name on it. Sometimes you might get a SKU number, but most of the time you don't. So this is a name. Having checked with things that look similar, I have come up with these beads. If it is a name brand bead, I will put it on the supply list. Going down from the black beads, and I have that midnight silver lined 80 seed bead. That's also from Wild Beads in my own stash. Going further down on the left, you will see a hex bead in a blue purple flash. This is also from Wild Beads in my own stash. Then going back up at the top, you will see a beautiful silver lined emerald 80 seed bead. And this is a check bead and it is from my own stash. Then going to the right of that, you will find, now this one is a blue purple opal, opaque bead. And this is from Wild Beads again, and from my own stash. And then at the very bottom on the right, you will see the barrel beads in the crystal and silver from my own stash. All these colors I picked to go with the beautiful faceted turquoise green bead from the Bargain Bead Box. So, looking at this picture, look in your own stash and see what beads you would like for your first bracelet, keeping in mind that we're going to add a few other seed beads to the other bracelets, but it will be a combination with a little extra of the beads you pick for your first bracelet. So let's get started. And as we're getting started, remember we're doing with that 0.5 stretch cord. Would you please take a moment and like and leave a comment for this video? And if you have not subscribed yet, would you please subscribe to our channel and help us grow? And sharing would be amazing. Thank you so much. So as we are using our cord, I have pulled out 15 inches. I know that's a lot, but I'm crazy like that. And then make sure that you stretch it because this cord will stretch some when you first use it. It will stretch more and you don't want it to lose its shape and become floppy. Now here, if you saw with this needle, this is one of those really, it's a split needle and the whole middle of the needle opens up. So it's real easy to get that stretch cord in. And I am doing that because with the seed beads, it's a lot easier to work with them if you have your cording on a needle. So we're starting out with 2 of that beautiful black, it's like a black luster. Then I'm adding 1 of the hex beads, and then I'm going to head and putting on the turquoise green from the Bargain Bead Box. Then I'm going to put on another hex bead and 2 more of that beautiful black luster. It's kind of a gun barrel look, and that's what it is. 2 hex bead, the turquoise, hex bead, and 2. That will be your first unit. And it should look just like this. So on to unit 2. In unit 2, we're going to use 2 of the midnight blue seed beads, just like that. Aren't those lovely? I love that color. And they've never had any more of that at Wild Beads. I wish I got 2 tubes. Then onward, I'm going to put on the barrel bead in the silver crystal, and then 2 more of that midnight blue seed beads. And what I'm doing here is I'm adding as much color as possible. And that unit 2 should be, or should look, just like this. So let's move on. Now then, the next step, is to go back to the unit 1, because I want to make that crystal a major part of the design. So in unit 1, remember, it was 2 black, a hex, the turquoise, a hex, and 2 black. So that completes 3 units. We only have 1 more unit to go, and that will be 2 of the emerald green, your turquoise, and 2 of the blue purple opaque. And it should look just like this. Let me add a picture. And here's what the transition unit looks like. Now at this point, I'm going to go back to the unit number 2, and I'm going to do 2 of the midnight blues. And then I'm going to put on 1 of the crystals and 2 more of the midnight blues, so that it looks like I'm building backwards, but I'm not really. Doing 2, 2, and 2. So if you will notice with this, I now have 2 of the turquoise beads, and then I have a crystal on either side. And so that's unit 1, unit 2, transition unit, and then I went back to unit 2. Now I will continue this pattern. The next one will be unit 1 with the black, the hex, and then the turquoise. And I will finish this pattern out until I have made the bracelet 7.25 to 7.5 inches in length, because that's what I like to wear. When you're making these bracelets, you want to make it the length, the length that you want it to go around your wrist. You do not want it to be tight when you're wearing these types of bracelets. That puts a great strain on the cording or the stretch cord, and it will make it wear out and break quicker. So let's go ahead and finish unit 1, unit 2, transition, unit 2, unit 1, until we get it the length we want, and I'll meet you on the other side. And we're back. So now it's time for me to check and see if I have the right length. Now remember, I said I wanted it to be between 7 1/4 and 7 1/2 inches, because I don't want to put a constant strain on that stretch cord. And if you see that little pink clip at the end, that's what I use to keep my beads from falling off. So let me check this out, make sure it's laying flat without being stretched. And that will tell me if I have enough on this cording. And it looks like I do. I am going ahead and taking off the needle. It has gotten twisted whenever I was measuring, and it tried to eat one of the beads. And I'll put both ends on this little pink clip. If I hadn't said it, I got these clips from the Dollar Tree, and I really love them. I use them for sewing, and I use them for beading, and anything that I need just a quick clip on, and they're really wonderful. Now the reason you can't tie it yet is we're going to put a bell through all of our bracelets. So I checked it. I liked where it is, and we're going to go ahead and put just a single tie on it to make sure I don't need any more. And we will move on to the next bracelet. Remember, just leave the ends clipped together until you're ready to finish up all the strands of the bracelet. So for next bracelet, we will be using, on bracelet number 2, those same purple hex beads from Wild Beads, but I'm sure you can pick them up at any jewelry supply. If not, I know you can order them on Amazon, or at least you could. And then from the Bargain Bead Box, we're going to use the 6x4 millimeter crystal faceted, I don't know where frosted came from, rondelles in the lavender. And that's again from the February Bargain Bead Box. Then going on down, we will be using the Check 80 teal seed beads. That's from my own stash. I know I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. And continuing on around, we're going to use the Check 80 black seed beads. And then we're going to use, I've already said that. Never mind. I was just completing the circle. So let's get started. All right, for bracelet number 2, we're going to start with 12 to 15 inches of the cord again. And I'm stretching it real good. Then I'm going to open up this wonderful little needle, this in it. I'm not sure what it's called. I have bought these off of Amazon and from Hobby Lobby. They have a slightly sharp edge, but not enough that you could use it to sew with. But I love them. We're going to do 2 of the teal seed beads, 4 of the black seed beads. I've got 5, I think, by accident. And then we're going to do 2 more of the teal. And this will be Unit 1. And Unit 1 for bracelet 2 should look like this. Now, even though I'm not using exactly from bracelet 1, you will notice that the colors are in the same family. So now for this next one, we're going to start with the hex bead. Then we're going to, I'm checking to see which one I like better. And I can tell you I liked it with the black better. And then we're going to use that lovely black. And then we're going to use the lavender bead from the Bargain Bead Box, 2 black, and another of those purple hex beads. And that is Unit 2 on bracelet 2, and it looks just like that. So this is the pattern for bracelet 2. We'll do a Unit 1 with teal, 2 teal, 4 black, 2 teal, a Unit 2 with hex bead, 2 black, the beautiful lavender bead from Bargain Bead Box, 2 black, and the hex bead. Now we're going to go ahead and finish this bracelet out to 7.5 or 7 1/4, because that's what I'm making. And I'll meet you when I get towards the end. And here we are. Isn't that pretty? I just love the way that blends in together. And I think that the lavender just adds a beautiful touch to that blue and black. That's just gorgeous. And so I'm going to put a clip on this. I've already measured it to make sure it was the right length. And we'll be ready to start the next bracelet. So for bracelet 3, I'm bringing in some of the colors we've used in 1 and 2, including from the Bargain Bead Box, the 4mm crystal faceted rounds in the turquoise green, and from the Bargain Bead Box, those beautiful 3 to 3.5mm garnet micro faceted beads. Now these beads, this is why you're using the 0.5 stretch cord, because it was the only cord I could get these beads through. So, continuing on around from the garnets, we are using the teal seed beads and the 8/0 again from my stash. And now we're bringing in a gray. And this gray is from, it's a gray luster. It's a check bead. It's an 8/0. And it's also from my own stash, again from Hobby Lobby. Then going further down, straight down from the gray, you're going to see the check 8/0 seed beads in an opaque black from my own stash. Any of these check beads have come from Hobby Lobby. And then from going around the corner, we're going to go back to that purple hex. That's from Wild Beads, and it's from my own stash. So let's get started. I've already cut the cording for this one. I've stretched it out so that it won't stretch out of shape on me. I've opened up the wing on that needle and put it through, and I am ready to start beading. Now, one of the beads that I forgot to tell you is the green iridescent that is over on the bottom, the left-hand corner. And that green iridescent is also a check bead from Hobby Lobby. So to start this bracelet off, we're going to put on a teal bead, and then we're going to put on this garnet right there. And we're going to pull it down. Now, these garnets are hard. Don't yank the cord, yank the bead. And after the garnet, we're going to add a hex, just like that. Then 2 of the gray seed beads and 2 of the green iris beads. I'm not sure I'm going to use the black on this one yet. Maybe just the green iris. All right, that's unit 1. Now unit 2 will be 3 of the the turquoise green faceted little beads we've used before. Then we're building backwards. We're putting on 2 of the green iris, 2 of the gray, a hex bead, just like that. And it should look just like that. Isn't that pretty? And then we're going to finish up with, Kathryn, I think you've forgotten something. No. We're going to go ahead and we're going to finish up with the, I got ahead of myself. I'm sorry. We're going to finish up with the garnet and then the teal. So that completed, this makes a single unit. And let me show you a picture. So here's a picture of what this unit should look like. Okay, let me try this again. It's almost a picture of what this should look like. It should start out with a teal, a garnet, a hex, 2 of the gray, 2 of the green iris, 3 of the turquoise green faceted beads, then 2 of the green iris, 2 gray, a hex, your garnet, and a teal. I cannot tell from this small little picture that I'm working with if I've got that hex on, but I think I do. So this is the unit for this bracelet. So we're going to go ahead and clip the end so the beads don't fall off. Now once we get to the end of that teal, instead of adding another teal, we're just going to go ahead and start with the garnet. Now because of my hand strength, have to use my pliers. I'm pulling on the bead, holding that needle so I don't tear or break the cording. And I bring that garnet down. So then I'll put on the hex bead, then 2 of the grays, then 2 of the green. There you go, the green iris. That's so pretty. I'm glad I went with that instead of the black because it really complements the 3 turquoise beads that I'm putting right there. And then I will continue on with this with the 2 green, then the 2 gray, if I don't get ahead of myself, and then the hex, and then I'll go ahead and put on another of the garnets, and then the teal, and I will finish this until I get 7.5 or 7 1/4 inches. Remember, depending on if you need your bracelet smaller or larger, you can increase what you're doing. If I was increasing this, I would just continue on till I got it the length. I would not add extra beads into the pattern. And there you go. So I'll see you when we get to the end of this one. And here we are. Isn't that pretty? I just love the colors in all of these bracelets, and they are going to be beautiful together. But remember, if this isn't the color palette you love, go ahead and change it to match what you like in your color palette. All right, on to bracelet 4. This is the final bracelet in this set. We're going to be using the black 8/0 seed beads. Going down from there, we're going to use those grays again and bring those in another spot in the bracelet. Then we're also going to use those garnet beads again, bringing it into another spot. Then going straight down from the garnets, we will be using the green iris again in this one. And we're adding from the bargain bead box these beautiful, it says Himalayan jade. It's really dyed quartz, but that's what they call it. It's a faceted rondelle, and it's from the bargain bead box in February. So, also at this time, go ahead and pull you out a charm. I'm using the Tree of Life charm and a large whole bell. I picked one that was oval. You can use the round, but you need to be able to get all of your bracelets through this bell. I'm also going to pick a jump ring that is a 4 millimeter, and then I'm pulling a I think I'm going to pull a 6 or an 8 millimeter jump ring. You will need a head pin because we're going to finish the back, and we will also finish, we'll put the charm on the front. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is, after we've cut our cording and stretched it, is we're going to get it put into our needle. If you have more than one needle, it's very helpful to have several of them at the same time. I'm putting my clip on the end, and then I'm going to start the pattern for this last of our bracelets. I am putting on 4 of the green iridescent, of the green iris, 2 of the gray, 1 of the garnets, and again I'm going to be using this to pull it through. Then I'm going to add these beautiful rondelles. I love them. So they're going right behind the garnet. I'm putting another garnet on to finish that look up. Let's get it on there. Actually, these garnets are probably the hardest part of the whole bracelet because they're so hard to get on the cording. So it looks just like that. Then we're going to build backwards with the 2 gray. And then I've frozen up. And then I'm going to put on 2 of the black, and then 4 of the green iris, just like that. Oh, nope. I decided, I see. I was counting and I counted wrong. Okay. So that's what we're going to do here, but that's not what I did when I began. So let's take that off. We're going to start with 2 of the gray on that other end, And then we're going to put on the black. And then 4 of the green iris. That way we'll work on both sides exactly the same. See how hard it is to get those on without a needle? It's just so much faster. And that is the way this unit will look. So it should have the 4 of the iris, the 2 of the black, the 2 of the gray, a garnet, a rondelle, a garnet, the gray, the black, and the 4 iris. And that's the pattern for this. Now that's going to give a beautiful pop of red up against the other beads, especially that turquoise green. That is just lovely. And we will go ahead and we will build this necklace till it reaches 7.5 to 7 1/4. And we're going to start again with the pattern that will be 2 of the black and 3 of the gray and a garnet, and then your rondelle and another garnet. And why do we start with the gray? Because we ended with the iris already. And so we're just, with the black, not the gray. Because we ended with the iris on both ends of this unit. And we don't want to put iris and iris together, that green iris. So we're just picking up as if the iris we ended with is the one for that next unit. So I'll see you when we get this one completed. So here you can see both of the bells that I drew or I got out of my stash. And the smaller one, it's just too small. If I was doing a 2 bracelet, yes, it would work. But I'm doing a 4, so I'm going to head and go with the round one. Here I'm checking ends to make sure they're all the same length. Once they're the same length, we will go ahead and slip on the bell. Now, once your bell is slipped on, then you're going to tie each one of your bracelets, 2 overhand knots on the top, 2 overhand knots underneath, and an overhand knot again on the top. I'm sorry I didn't get that recorded. But here is what it looks like with the bell on it and it tied together. Isn't that pretty? I think it's just gorgeous. And once we have got that done, I'm going to take my eye pin and I'm going to put on one of those beautiful red rondelles. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use one of the little 3mm spacer balls to finish off the top of it. And then I'm going to do a rounded turn with my straight nose pliers, and that's where you make sure you do not have it extended. That's what I'm feeling for, and make teeny tiny little turns until you get it all the way down till it touches your bead, whatever that might be. Make sure that it sits right over the top of that bead so it will so it will hang straight. I went ahead and went with a 8mm jump ring. I'm adding it to the back of the bracelet, so the bracelets will be joined in the back and in the front. And then I'm going to close that up with 2 chain nose pliers and just making sure that they touch, because you don't want anything to get away from you. And I'm sorry, I'm a little shaky in this one. I keep dropping it. By this time, I am tired. But I wanted to get this finished so I could share it with you. And so when I got to this point, that's why we didn't get the knots tied. Now on those knots, it is just like you were going to tie any knot. You bring it around and pull it tight, bring it around and pull it tight, then bring it under and pull it tight, bring it under and pull it tight, and then one more time, bring it around and pull it tight. And here you have the jump ring in the back holding them together and the bell in the front. Now that I'm using that 4mm, no, I went ahead and did a 5mm jump ring. I opened it up with 2 chain nose pliers. Never pull, always twist one side. I'm adding my tree of life. And then I decided I wanted to go ahead and use a second jump ring because I just really like the look of that. So the best way I know to get a second jump ring on is to open it up and put the 2 circles that you're trying to get that jump ring in side by side so that they'll be facing the correct way. Then you just slip it on just like that and close it up. It's so much easier than the way I first tried to do it. And this is the finished product. If I quit fiddling with it so you can see it. Oh, come on, Kathryn. I'm getting all the things together. And so there it is. Isn't that lovely? I just love this piece. Get your arm out of the way, Kathryn. And so let's put it on our little heart so we can see it properly. And that is beautiful. Thank you so very much for joining me on this beading adventure today. This is such a fun piece to put together. I like making each bracelet in a different design, but you could do the same design. You don't have to stop at 4. You could do 5 or 6, or maybe you only want 2 or 3. It doesn't matter. It is so versatile. When you change the colors of the seed bead, the colors and type of focal beads you use, it will make a completely different look. Isn't that a lovely piece? Look in your station and see if there's something you might like to put together and make one of these. And if you're looking to have one just like this and you don't have the beads, this one will be up in our shop at circleartdesigns.net. I almost used the old one. And one last thank you for joining me today. I've had so much fun. I really do love doing these. I love the laughter. I love the joy of creating and the joy of sharing with you. And I hope you do too. God bless y'all. Kathryn, circleartdesigns.net.